Good evening and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another night of NGS action. Tonight is the last night of the semi-final rounds, and tonight we've got an amazing show coming down for you. My name is IceX. Welcome to the channel. Pull up your chair, bring your drink. Let's have a good time. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this epic matchup tonight. Going on in Division B Northeast between amateur opponents coming in as the number 4 seed, trying to take down the number 1 seed Yellow Owls. Sorry for everybody for that slight delay. We had one team trying to get their 5th member online, but now we have lobbies full of everyone. Both teams are ready to go. Let me get you guys over to the map overview. Looking at some of these, I wish I had the standings that I could pull up to show you how the tournament has played out so far for these two teams. But Yellow Owls have defeated in the quarterfinals Doroton's Crouch 2-0. Pretty domination victory there going over for Yellow Owls. Meanwhile, amateur opponents took a close 2-1 series against Team Gobby Legs, got the win there, and now both teams setting up for their showdown to have the opportunity to take on Probius in the finals coming up next week sometime. These two teams did go at it before. I believe it was Yellow Owls that came away with the victory there. We got some readies coming out in chat, but let me explain what went down in the pre-game stuff before we get into this first match. Yellow Owls won. Since they are the number 1 seed, they get to win the coin flip automatically, and they elected to go with map pick over first hero pick, meaning they started off our ban phase and they banned out Alteric Pass and Cursed Hollow. Amateur opponents banned out Dragonshire and Garden of Terror in return, sending Yellow Owls the election between the remaining 6 maps, and Yellow Owls decided to send us over to Volskaya Foundry first. Volskaya Foundry, for those who are familiar and hang out on this channel a lot, know my feelings about it. It is a map that does go late all the time. I don't even remember the last time I casted a match on Volskaya Foundry where it did not go to level 20. So with that in mind, both these teams probably very aware, being in this Division B Northeast, one of the higher tier divisions in NGS. Probably, I'd say this like middle ground / higher ground in NGS. They know that this map will go late, so we may start seeing some late game champions shine here, come through these pick and draft phases. Looking at the meta right now, I anticipate a lot of meta picks still being banned out. The champions that can have a lot of playmaking potential, especially the tank pools, seem to get choked pretty hard on a map like Volskaya Foundry, where tanks who excel at small objective crowd control fightings like your Mei, like your Johanna, like your Garrosh, those champions tend to get the boot early on. Meanwhile, the healer pool, not typically as focused, but we do see the first ban is going to be that Tyrande. So Tyrande is excellent at both being able to put out single target damage, increase their team's damage, and also can put out some nasty crowd control with some good combinations. But there we start seeing the tank focus come out. Corsair, the side of Yellow Owls captain, banning out the Mei. Not going to see the Mei make the appearance here on Volskaya. Fuji coming in with caw. Is that the noise owl make? I thought owls go who or hoot. There we go. Spectrum now saying owls are hot, so they hot, they hoot. So hot they hoot. There we go. Anubrak getting the ban coming out from amateur opponents. Another tank getting the knockoff here. Nubrak, one of those very good champions at stacking crowd control, especially when he gets to level 20. Murden and Anubrak can be devastating with their crowd controls with that rewind ability. Anubrak able to get a double burrow, double impale if he can land one of those onto the opposing teams. And Sylvanas going to get banned out here by Yellow Owls. Notorious for being able to create a lot of havoc in the lane that the Punisher does not push, and also help the Punisher pretty much have an automatic full W for any structure that the Protector wants to kind of turn off. The Protector can turn off structures for about 2 seconds with its W. Sylvanas just can increase that time tenfold and allow the Punisher to continue to push if not going to the offlane. But Tychus going to be that first pickup there. These are, Tychus excelling right now in the meta due to the fact that the meta has shifted in pretty much this season, in the last several months, toward this like double bruiser tank comp, or this Uther main tank composition that seems to come out, and Uther being picked up by the side of Yellow Owls. Kael'Thas to follow up, can put out out a lot of damage over these small objectives where people are needing to stand on. So Tychus gonna get some pretty good value here, known for his single target shred, and can also put down assassins pretty easily too. If he goes a little extra damage into that W, he will be able to put out a lot of punishment onto anybody that oversteps. Thankfully, Keltos is one of those safer mages. Diablo and Sonya being picked up by the side of amateur opponents here. Diablo doesn't have the most walls on Volskaya. There are some. It's a little harder for him to land the stuns around the objective. We'll see if a Tassadar gets picked up to help Diablo with some of that. Meanwhile, Sonya, excellent pick into really any type of heavy mage that doesn't have a lot of mobility. So Kael'thas doesn't have the best peel for himself, does have the gravity lapse, can throw it down to, interrupt the Sonya's plans. But ultimately has a really tough time getting away, especially in the early games when he doesn't get that level 1 talent stacked all the way up, doesn't have the shield quite yet. But Uther at 10 will be able to pick up that divine shield, going to be able to protect the Kael'thas from any leap play that the Sonya may make. So we'll see if Sonya goes for the leap or elects to just say, you know what, I'm going to go Wrath of the Berserker and try to put down as much damage as I can. We do see more tanks getting banned out by both teams. Diablo was picked up, so one tank already picked up, but Deathwing and ETC being picked up. Deathwing, not necessarily a tank. He is very tanky, can put down a lot of damage as well, but Murden going to be picked up. We already discussed the advantages that Murden provides, being able to jump in, get some damage with that Dwarf Toss, and then follow up that Storm Bolt, get some serious crowd control once the level 20 rewind comes online. But here we go. We see the the triple threat front line coming out from the side of Yellow Owls, going to have that Uther, Murden, and Diva. So the Tychus value going up significantly. There also are no blinds. I'm interested to see, Lily, not necessarily the best support character, but can put out a lot of damage and pairs well with the Kael'thas and Murden. So we'll see if we start to get some blinds for that Tychus, or if we elect to just go ahead and pick up more damage on the side of Yellow Owls. Meanwhile, Malfurion and Gul'dan being picked up on the side of amateur opponents. Malfurion going to be able to put this down, that level 1 talent, put the opposing team to sleep. Going to have excellent peel with that level 1 talent, and it's going to be the Zul'jin finishing out. So it is going to be that main tank or main healer Uther. Not going to be able to put out a ton of healing, but Kael'thas and Zul'jin going to put out a ton of damage. So Sonya's got to be really selective about the jumps in that she decides to go, as well as the Diablo. Diablo going to have to wait a little bit to get himself stacked up, and there is no blind potential on the side of amateur opponents. So Zul'jin will get himself stacked up. The later this game goes, the more happy Zul'jin becomes. So interesting compositions coming out on both sides. We got a very, very aggressive smack 'em in the early to mid game coming out from the side of amateur opponents, but the longer this game goes, if that Uther and Kael'thas can make sure that they stay together and keep each other happy, alive, then we will see a very strong late game coming out of Yellow Owls, which, as we have discussed, Volskaya Foundry is always going to be that late game map. I cannot remember the last time I saw Volskaya Foundry end before level 20s. It has to be somewhat of like 6 months to a year. So there you have it. Throw out in chat who you are supporting. Berserk, thank you so much for the follow. Definitely appreciate it. Definitely watching. Enjoy yourself on this channel. We got a lot of playoffs still to come. We've got finals, coastal finals coming up next week. I've got a couple, one of those for sure, maybe two. We'll see how the assignments end up panning out there. And then we've got the grand finals coming the week after that. So we'll get another cast scheduled in there as well, at least hope to. But let's see if the side of got chat coming out, Josh Jakashula, I think that's how you say it. Jakoshulu 5. I don't know, but if amateur opponents can be a little disciplined and not stack dual Zul'jin, that is absolutely critical for the side of amateur opponents, and dead on. Amateur opponents have to be the ones to play a little play pretty contained, play pretty passively, play smart. Make sure that you don't give those Zul'jin stacks, because if that Zul'jin gets himself going, gets a lot of stacks, especially in these team fights over the first protector. I mean, I'm curious if amateur opponents are just going to be like, you know what, we don't want that first protector. But of course, we have a pause coming out here early on. Sonya was not able to join the game, and teams need their full team to be able to participate. I mean, technically, they don't need them, but I don't think they really want an AI. But AO draft looking a lot stronger. I definitely agree that AO's draft is much stronger in the early and the mid game, but the Uther is going to be able to keep this back line alive pretty well, at least provide the peel for Diablo. So it's going to have to be a very well orchestrated gank in order to get any kills onto the side of Yellow Owls. And then at level 10, Uther will have that magic D shield button that he can press to keep Kael'thas or Zul'jin alive. Once that is available, that's where the scale will slowly start to tip in favor of Yellow Owls as the game gets later and later, if they can let the Zul'jin get stacked up. Let's go Owls. They hate us because they ain't us. Yellow Owls, I mean, looking back on this season, Yellow Owls had a very, very good season. I believe, let me see if I can pull this up while we wait for Sonya trying to load in here. I believe they only dropped a handful of maps in the entire season. Had a very, very good showing in the NB Northeast. One. They lost one. All season long, they dropped one map. 10 dominations, dominated everybody but one team in the entire side. And who was that one team? I'm curious. The 2-1. Look at that, was against amateur opponents. Amateur opponents. The only team in Division B Northeast that took a map from Yellow Owls. So, without further ado, let's get these two teams introduced. On the blue side, we've got Corsair on the Murden. We got Save sitting on that Zul'jin. Amador on the Uther. Captain Magyar? I don't know, on D.Va. And Mahaya on Kael'thas. Meanwhile, on the red side, we've got amateur opponents. We got Ide on the Diablo. We got Sonic's Bro on that dancing Tychus there. We got Terminator, ST Terminator on the Sonya. We got Butte Holiday on the Malfurion. And we got Cactus Ham on the Gul'dan. And we see a rotation up into this top lane. Again, smart play coming out in the early game from the side of amateur opponents, not wanting to give those stacks to Zul'jin. Zul'jin sitting in this mid lane going, I want as many stacks as I can get. Going with that extra damage with Recklessness at level 1, so he's going to be able to put out a little bit. Not going to stack as heavily into the late game, but will be able to put out a lot more punishment here in the early game. Meanwhile, we've got Uther getting the stacks on the W, going to give a little bit more armor onto the rest of the team when he gets that stacked all the way up. Down the bot lane, it's going to be the Sonya D.Va matchup here. Sonya going to be able to actually bully this around pretty well. D.Va's going to be able to get herself back, but Sonya going to be able to continue using that Seismic Slam build to put some serious damage onto D.Va. She's going to have a very good time in the very first few levels if she can get a lot of damage down onto that D.Va and make D.Va take a lot of punishment, especially if she can get D.Va to back. Then Sonya will have a very, very good opportunity to get some soak advantage for her team. But Gul'dan going to go for that sustain build, getting the chaotic energy stacked up here at level 1 instead of going for the corruption build or just the overall Fel Spirit build. And both teams electing to go ahead and pick up their own turret camps here. Getting the nice timers on these turrets, try and get a second one before this first objective comes online. But it's going to be interesting to see. I've seen a couple of mentions of it in chat, and I mentioned it earlier. If the side of amateur opponents even elect to go ahead and try and pick up this first objective, or if they just decide to, you know, go for the soak game, give it up, not let Zul'jin get himself stacked up too high. Kael'thas already sitting on 5 globes, trying to get himself globed up. But here's the pick that we were potentially looking for. Diablo coming out of the bush a little too early, doesn't get the Kael'thas, elects to go for Murda instead. The Root and Sleep comes out from Malfurion. Drain is going by the Gul'dan. Can he get the last Fel? He does not. Tychus has to back away. A good stun coming in from the Uther mains. Murden will stay alive. Almost picked up, so a nice pick play coming out. Diablo still, you know, a fifth of the way towards his soul stack, so we'll see if he can get himself continue to get stacked up. Will be a little bit of a terror to deal with until Zul'jin gets that % damage later in the game. Kael'thas not necessarily going to have the best shred to go through a Diablo unless he goes for that extra damage onto the single targets. But Kael'thas electing to go for that extra mana, extra spell power at from the Verdant Spears at level 4. Sorry, the spell power is level 1. It's just the mana at level 4. Wasn't looking at the level 1 talent. But D.Va getting some soak down here in the bot lane. Camps already picked up in the top lane, both teams. Objective unlocking. We do have a support camp being picked up here by amateur opponents. It was scouted by Yellow Owls, but they're electing not to contest it. Don't have everybody grouped up where they want. So this is going to be a support camp picked up by the side of amateur opponent. A good pickup there, getting themselves the item advantage and having a lot of pushing advantage here too. So Zul'jin not here. This is going to be a potential gank onto Zul'jin. The corruption does miss from the cooldown there, excuse me, but Diablo and Tychus were ready to follow it up, so a little bit of miscommunication on when the Diablo was going to flip. Cooldown thought it was going to be immediate. Diablo held it just for a second, so they didn't get the corruption on the target that they wanted, but plenty of follow-up damage to make sure that that is going to be first blood going over to amateur opponents. Here comes the gank into the bot lane, though. Sonya taking a little bit of a beating. Uther making sure that the D.Va is able to stay healthy, get herself back into mech form. D.Va sitting at about, what, half right now, back to mech form. Kael'thas having to finish up this top siege still. They did get a turret with that, so pretty big pickup there. Objective was also picked up and starting to count for the side of amateur opponents, but here are Yellow Owls getting themselves in here to maybe set up some sort of play on even talent tiers. Zul'jin still only at 4 stacks right now. Now trying to get a few more going onto this Diablo. But again, as we said, Diablo's got to be very selective about where he wants to pick this fight. He wants to find somebody a little extended and see if he can get a stun to the wall. He looks for the D.Va, but the bomb's going to be thrown out right there, zoning everybody off. Tychus getting thrown into the gravity lapse, and the D.Va bomb secures that kill. So Tychus gonna fall here, and that means this objective will flip back over to the blue side, and they have at a very high percent. So this might be the first objective being picked up by Yellow Owls. A nice combination going there. Tychus just a little too far forward, getting thrown up in that gravity lapse, and D.Va Bomb was able to fully channel and get the remaining kill on that Tychus. Turrets being picked up by both sides. The Protector starting off in the mid lane as per usual, gonna get these 2 towers and the wall, and then we'll see if it goes bot or top. Most of the time it goes top, but a lot of teams have been starting to focus on pushing it bot as well, and just getting a win condition set up for that third Protector rather than trying to get the advantage for the second Protector. So I've seen that shift starting to come in more and more, teams electing to try and just double push Protectors in the bot lane, see if they can get a win condition for that third Protector. But here comes Diablo. He's got a nice positioning on the Zul'jin, gets the stun into the wall, but unfortunately the sleep was thrown down onto the Uther there. Tychus taking a lot of damage from this Protector, standing right on top of that channel, and the Protector comes in, slams that one home, and then knocks back the Malfurion as well. So the Protector, whoever's driving this caboose, Murden, throwing out the W's, getting some good plays going, and that is going to negate any advantage that we saw coming out from amateur opponents. They're still the first to make it to 10s. We got Horrify coming in for the Gul'dan, the Commandeer Odin for the Tychus. We got the Twilight Dream coming in from Malfurion. We got the APOC from the Diablo, and Sonya's still holding on, deciding where she wants to go for that level 10, but 10's also now online for the side of Yellow Owls. Sonya did go that Wrath of the Berserker. Think it's a better play in this situation with the team comp coming out. You know, the Leap is always a fun one to go, but I think with the team comps the way they are, I think the Berserker and with the objective, it's just a much better way to go. Meanwhile, Diablo getting stunned out by the D.Va and the Uther. Diablo actually knocking the D.Va back. She does not have a bomb available, so if she gets thrown out here, she is in baby D.Va form and running the wrong direction. APOC being thrown out, but we got Tychus going 1-on-4 in the back and ends up being the first to fall. D.Va getting flipped over and takes a shot from the tower. Spray going down as well. I think that was from D.Va. Pretty sure. Anyway, the rest of the fight's still going on over here. The support camp was picked up by the side of Yellow Owls, so trading a kill for kill, but it's not over yet. Diablo getting thrown up by the gravity lapse, and that means Zul'jin gets a couple more stacks going for that passive, up to 13 now. And item advantage, it looks like it's right now just the support item in favor of the Yellow Owls. Everything was kind of thrown down in that last fight, but Diablo getting another gravity lapse and Zul'jin continuing to get the stacks, and this is what Zul'jin wants. The stun going out, Horrify landing onto all 3 members, and one getting feared all the way into the team, but unfortunately it was the Murden, so Dwarf Toss means he escapes, and that will be a no for no trade. Great Horrify, though, coming in from the Gul'dan there. Lands on all 4 members and puts the Murden into the team. Unfortunately, Murden, you know, the silence wasn't available or just wasn't used. It wasn't available. Malfurion had it on cooldown, so it was not able to secure the kill on to the Murden there. And now we got these 2 teams going toe-to-toe here. Amateur opponents getting a little bit away from the game plan there when they lost that Tychus. Now we'll see if they can get back onto their game plan. We're still in that phase where I still believe they have the stronger team comp right now. But again, as this game goes later, I mean, Kael'thas has already finished his level 1 passive, so he's got a lot more protection for himself. Zul'jin, he's getting there. He's at 18 stacks right now. Would like a few more. But this game is just going to continue to get later and later, and now amateur opponents, they need to start contesting these objectives, meaning Zul'jin's going to continue to get his stacks. I don't believe we ever finished going over the 10s for the side of Yellow Owl. We did get the Avidar picked up by the Murden. It was the D-Shield by the Uther as expected. We do see it's the Tazdingo by the Zul'jin, so he's got one oh crap button, and then Uther's got another one for him. The micro missiles picked up by the D.Va. And we do see that it is going to be the Phoenix picked up by the Kael'thas. But we have this second objective now being picked up. Sonya electing to go do some double soaking. 13s are online for both teams, but Sonya wants to get a little bit more soak for team. Maybe try and close this experience gap a little bit. D.Va trying to make sure nobody is able to rotate down, get the mid soak. And now Sonya able to push out the bot lane, rotating up. We do see Gul'dan already here, but D.Va has the bomb available, so has a way to get herself to safety. Diablo look like he's wanting to posture to catch the D.Va in a rotation here. They're setting up for it, but they're not quite ready to pull the trigger. Malfurion trying to bait it, gets the root down. The bomb gets thrown out, and D.Va gets absolutely shredded. I don't know. I think she was trying to hop out of the mech to maybe get out of the Malfurion route, but she hopped out and got rooted again, and Diablo was right there. Gets the knockback and then the flip, and that will be one dead baby D.Va. Good pick coming in for amateur opponents there. I'm anticipating that they're going to potentially make a play for the support camp. They don't need the objective quite yet, and it would be nice to get the item even again, since they are down a health pack. It's a health pack and a turret on the side of Yellow Owls. It's just a turret on the side of amateur opponents. They're waiting and they're delaying. D.Va now is alive and has to come back, so electing not to go for it. The Commandeer Odin popped by the Tychus already. Diablo going all the way in. Zul'jin trying to get the stacks and peeling himself back. Diablo switched to the Kael'thas with the Tychus, but Kael'thas able to get himself away. Here comes D.Va. She does not have bomb available, but the turnaround is starting. The Horrify was already popped, so Gul'dan has no peel for himself. Murden jumps right on top, and that is Gul'dan falling. Sonya getting stunned out right next to the turret. And that is going to be one kill so far. Zul'jin in a great position for the flank, looking for the finishing kill, and Sonya gets it there. That is going to be a second kill for the side of Yellow Owls, and that is 2 for Neil in favor of Yellow Owls. They get the Protector, and they are pushing this top fort. Tychus trying to do everything he can to get the Zul'jin away, but it is not going to be able to be done, and that is going to be this Protector crushing this top fort and gonna rotate down. Now it's interesting to see if they're gonna stop and pick up mid on their way to the bot, or if they are gonna elect just to go all the way bot here. I anticipate with a 9-second death timer on Sonya, they'll try to get as much value as they can and maybe try to pick up this mid fort as well. That looks like what the play that is being called there. Unfortunately, the W hits Diablo, so he doesn't turn the tower off, but he should be able to pick up this fort no problem at all. This is a second fort picked up by the side of Yellow Owls, and now D.Va's got the wave pushed all the way in. They will come bot and try and get that health pack. So going for the double fort and the pressure in the bot lane. Not going to be able to get this fort, I don't believe. Maybe not even going to be able to get the health pack since everybody's running away. Sonya's coming in looking like she wants to pick a fight here. Diablo gonna back himself off. And now the Protector turning around. Look at Gul'dan. He's way too far forward. The Horrified does not land on anyone but the D.Va. The Protector continuing to punish. Gul'dan has the lifesteal available from that level 1 talent, getting the extra drain. But Zul'jin getting a 4-man twin cleave there, slowing everybody. Kael'thas putting down massive damage with the Flame Strike. Here comes the dive, but now the APOC being popped catches the D.Va. She gets thrown to baby D.Va for him. Tychus, oh, Diablo coming in, but the D-Shield landed at an absolutely critical time. Good save by the Uther there. And it's going to be 0 for 0 picked up so far by both teams, but everybody on the side of Yellow Owls is sitting fairly healthy, and it looks like they're going to continue this siege. Sonya and Gul'dan looking like they wanted to pick up the siege protect, the extra turret, but now backing themselves off. Gonna go and kind and help with this defense. And there goes Yellow Owls. They're backing themselves off. Gonna go back to the macro game. Satisfied with what they've been able to pick up so far, but nobody dying in that entire bottom fight. D.Va did lose her mech, so, you know. I thought she was dead to rights with Diablo landed that stun, but a nice D-Shield coming in from the Uther there. But Zul'jin continuing to get stacked. Those twin cleaves at 57 stacks on the level 7 there. going to be just absolutely massive there. And now the support camp going to be the next focus for these two teams. Zul'jin getting some stacks. D.Va going in, getting a 4-man knockback. The Horrify thrown down, landing onto 2 so far. And Sonya did pop Wrath of the Berserker, so she's got to continue to auto-attack here, see if she can find some fights. The health pack was picked up by the side of Yellow Owls. And that looks like that's going to be it. Amateur opponents going to back themselves off. 5-4 in kills right now. Just about a level lead in favor of Yellow Owls right now. They do have macro presence, so they will continue to get a lot of pressure pushed in these two lanes. More importantly, they can contest this anytime they decide to as a team. If they see Tychus in the bot lane like they just did, they might try and make some sort of play. But the danger ping's being thrown out. They elect to just get the health fountain instead and then back themselves off. Maybe make a play for the bot lane. See if they can get some more damage onto this bot fort. Meanwhile, the side of amateur opponents, they're doing a great job at making sure that they delay. They do need to find a pick, though, to get themselves, ideally trying to time this pick around, they got a couple minutes to pick it out, but really trying to pick it around the time that the next objective starts to get channeled, which should be in about another minute and a half to a minute. Did not see when the second one was actually finished being channeled, so don't have the timer exactly. That's my fault. Oh, actually, it's much sooner. It's going to be probably about 45 seconds. So closer to the minute than the minute and a half there. 30 seconds until it is going to be completely channeled. But here we go. This is what amateur opponents are looking for. They know they need to set up some sort of play. Tychus does find the Zul'jin, but Tychus is so far forward, gets knocked up, stunned, gravity laps. Tychus is so low, trying to run himself away. D.Va is in baby form, but she gets killed before she gets back in the mech. They committed a lot to get there, but Sonya having to run away. Zul'jin's still alive, and Malfurion got bullied away by the Murden, so it's a 1-for-1 trade so far. D.Va just didn't have time to climb back in. She was like halfway back into her mech and got shot in the foot, and that was enough to make sure baby D.Va did not get inside of her mech and get the 5v4 advantage. But Zul'jin, more importantly, look at his stack, sitting at 38 right now, continuing to stack himself up. And Yellow Owls, ooh, a nice stun coming in from the Malfurion onto the Malfurion, excuse me. But the Yellow Owls, they're wanting to fight this, and amateur opponent, a big 3-man Horrify coming in here. But unfortunately, unless they find the Uther, which it looks like they're trying to do, they're not going to get much out of this. And Uther's still alive. Look at this. Uther's just walking himself away. No real follow-up. Tychus already had burned the minigun, so he didn't have the percent shred that he was looking for to maybe get that kill onto the Uther there. And Uther just, waddles away. And that will be Uther getting away. And now the 19s are almost 20s for the side of Yellow Owls, meaning the side of amateur opponents. They're not going to have really any point to contest this unless they group up right now and go find a fight. But Yellow Owls, they're smart. They're just going to sit back and make sure they get their 20s before they allow any fight to be forced. Murden just going to jump himself away with the Dwarf Toss and wait for 20s to come online. And there they are. 20s online. APOC being popped, but it's 20s already. Everybody's going in here. Murden getting very low, ends up falling, does not drop the turret either, so that's a big pickup. Now if they can get themselves away, it's going to be a good pick for amateur opponents here. D.Va getting shredded. Tychus somehow still alive. D.Va going to get rooted out by the Malfurion there, and Sonya going to go and try to pick off the Kale Toss. That will be 2 kills so far. Another nice D-shield from the Uther onto the D.Va. Make sure D.Va stays alive and secures the kill onto the Malfurion there. And so that is going to be a 1-for-2 pickup so far for the side of Yellow Owls. Gul'dan trying to kite back into the turret there. They get the crowd control, but unfortunately don't get the Tazdingo pop, so Zul'jin going to be able to just walk himself away. Diablo looks like he's just going to try and commit to this and use the Black Soul to come back, but unfortunately Gul'dan didn't get that memo. D.Va going to finish off with the micro missiles, and that is a 4-for-1 pickup for the side of Yellow Owls. Big play coming in from the blue side there. It looked like they potentially had the pick onto Murden, and that was all they needed. They could just back themselves away. Yellow Bird being thrown out by the D.Va there. And now amateur opponents, they just need to get their 20s and defend. They will have everybody alive for this defense, and the keep wall is still alive, so this defense should be able to keep the bot keep alive. But more importantly, this top keep's already a third of the way down, so the side of Yellow Owls could just take this protector to the top lane and make their win condition there. Support camp being picked up by the side of Yellow Owls. Murden going to go over and try to get this top siege lane going as well. Looks like maybe they're going to take the protector to the bot lane and use the minions to push out the top I'm curious if they're going to send this Protector to the top lane or if they're going to elect to keep it bot. It looks like now he's walking up like he's going to go to the top lane. Or maybe the rest of the team's coming down to him and he's just hanging out waiting. I don't know. This to me seems like it's a free keep. It sets up your win condition more than pushing through bot will. But Murden actually getting the pick onto the Malfurion there, but the return engage from the jump engage from the Diablo with the level 20 teleport there, gets the APOC down, provides a lot of peel, but Diablo does not have his souls fresh off the death train, has to get himself away. So everybody's sitting very low on the side of amateur opponents. The Protector just poking away, trying to create some delay. Big red button coming in from the Tychus. And now the Protector gonna continue to get in there and provide some siege. Still got 50 seconds on the Protector, so in no real rush right now, but the top lane actually getting one out by the side of amateur opponents there. So as long as they can delay this in the bot lane, this is going to be a really, really good defense coming in for amateur opponents. If you're the side of Yellow Owls, you want to find some way to get a pick here, but electing to just get the front wall and back themselves up. Now I'm wondering if they're sitting here thinking, man, this opening was huge. But now it looks like they're turning back around. Maybe considering a re-engage onto this keep. Horrify actually being thrown down onto the Zul'jin, looking like they may want to try and pick onto the Zul'jin here. With the root coming down from the Malfurion, he already pops the Taz Dingo. The D-Shield is being popped as well, and Zul'jin going to have to run himself away, but Sonya is right there. Can't she get the kill? 90 health was the number on the Zul'jin, but he's getting healed. Now D.Va having to get herself back. Diablo is that big, beefy frontline. Sonya, with that upgraded Wrath of armor there, is able to take a beating from the Zul'jin, and that is going to be a kill for a kill so far. Diablo is down, will not come back, but the rest of the team is trying to push forward on the side of amateur opponents. Tychus shredding through this Murden like it's his day job, but Murden has that passive healing ability. The support camp is dropped, and so Murden is just going to start getting healthy again. 2 kills picked up by the Zul'jin. The Zul'jin is stacked, and he is putting out a ton of damage. Great gravity lapse coming in from the Kale Toss there. Murden jumping in with the stun to secure this kill. Zul'jin chasing down the Malfurion to see if he can get this final pick, but that is going to be 4 kills for 1. Again, it looked like amateur opponents got the kill that they wanted and then just continued to chase and ultimately lost the prolonged fight. Zul'jin was able to get himself into a great position and was able to get the damage put down. Kael'thas peeling for himself, and Uther utilizing that divine shield on the Zul'jin to keep him going. And this looks like it will potentially be, we'll see what Diablo can do here, but it's going to be real tough against the Zul'jin and a Kael'thas. Both have great core shred ability. But a good W by the core there. Diablo does have the APOC available, gets stunned out, does the flip, has the follow-up APOC, getting the double stun down on to the Zul'jin. Tychus will be up in 1 with the Sonya, but I believe this core is not long for this world. It is at 13-9-3, and that is it. GG's going to come out. Game 1 going to go over to the side of Yellow Owls. Taking a Game 1 victory here, and looking good in this series. Look at the damage Zul'jin was able to put out. The later that game went, the worse that got if you are on the receiving end of that Zul'jin's damage. I mean, Zul'jin, I think he ended the game, if I remember right, with like 70 stacks. It was close to 70. 68 or 70 stacks. You know, Weenus is sitting there hoping for the 69, but he was up there looking very stacked on the Zul'jin. And, you know, as we talked about, Volskaya Foundry, again, doesn't end before 20s are online, always goes to 20s. Zul'jin loving the late game, able to get himself very, very stacked, put out a ton of damage. Kael'thas able to put out a hefty 71k as well. I mean, the highest damage coming out of amateur opponents, 55 on the Sonya, 54 coming out of the Tychus. I felt Tychus would be able to put out a lot more damage, but it felt like a lot of these fights he just got inched forward a little too much there, and the entire side, the Murden was able to just bully the Tychus out, get the stun to land. The follow-up with the D.Va and the Zul'jin were enough to make Tychus have to run away, and then Tychus was so low. So he started off a lot of these fights very, very low, and then he had to be very careful about his positioning, so that means he couldn't put out as much damage as he wanted to in a lot of these team fights. Gul'dan putting down 48k himself, you know, going for the drain hope build, going with that chaotic energy into the health funnel. So very, very sustainy build coming out of the Gul'dan. Probably going to just because of the pure on hard engage we see coming out with the Murden Uther and the D.Va. it doesn't necessarily get a lot of value out of the bleeds due to the fact that Uther can just pop the D shield onto a target that looks like he's about to bleed out, and Kael'thas and Zul'jin have the Taz Dingo and the shield available to mitigate a lot of that damage coming in from the Gul'dan there. But Sonya going into that very, very Seismic Slam Wrath build. Tychus did go for the grenade as expected, trying to get some finishing damage onto some of these kills, but really it looked like a lot of what was going right in the early game just suddenly fell apart at that end of that first objective fight when the Tychus got picked out and blown up by the Diva Bomb. And that really just put a kink in Amateur's opponent's plan there, because after that point, it just looked like they were lost getting back to their game plan. From that point all the way through really the entire second protector phase, just not able to get themselves back into it. Then they eventually started finding some fights that were actually favorable for them, and they were getting picks like they wanted to chip away at that experience. But then they just overcommitted to a lot of these fights in the late game, getting the early pick, getting the free kill, and then trying to chase down that second kill, and ended up trading away 4 members for that 1 kill. So unfortunate there. We'll see if they can be, collect themselves, be a little more disciplined in the second game, and not lose that early pressure advantage, because the early game was all Amateur opponents. They looked very, very good in that early game. So we'll see if they're able to continue with that here in this game number 2. Looking through some of this chat, just not finishing these kills coming in from Zul'Rul. Yep, that was definitely a big problem, especially in the late game coming in for these teams. AO should play for the 20 and then run at the ones not in the mech. Yeah, that's always a viable strategy, is get on that even talent tier and then just push past. The Protector did do a good job of staying very passive, staying near the team and trying to be there to provide the shield instead of getting sucked up too far. And it eventually worked out. Silly casters, trying to analyze these games. It did end up working. That push into the bot lane did ultimately get them the reward that they wanted. But that third protector didn't get a ton of value in the bot lane. It was just that overcommitment from Amateur opponents that really allowed Yellow Owls to finish and push through that bot lane. Looking back, I thought the protector would have gone top lane, but who knows? A lot of fans coming in. Reverse sweep AO coming in from RBs. All right. I love to say I always love game 3, so at least let's get to a game number 3. But let's get you guys back over to the map screen. We got map number 2 coming in for these two teams. I'm going to get it loaded up here so you guys can see what's going on. And it looked like the side of Amateur opponents, they lost, so they get to choose between first pick and map pick. And they go with map pick, and they are sending us over to Towers of Doom. So another map that typically goes very late. So both of these teams, out of the 6 remaining maps that were available, the 2 that were picked up were the ones that typically go late. Battlefield of Eternity can go late. Infernal Shrines certainly can go late. Tomb of the Spider Queen, Braxis usually on the earlier end of the maps. But both of these maps are the 2 maps that are notorious. That and Alterac, but Alterac was banned. But the 2 maps that are notorious for going late. We have one person in the bathroom currently, waiting for that last individual to get back before we can get map number 2, game number 2 underway. But good game 1 coming out from these 2 teams. Definitely enjoyed the game 1 series. Feral Ferret, loving it coming in. AO had too much tunnel vision. Counter gank was on point for Owls. If AO can clean that up and time disengage better, they could really do well. Definitely agree, 100%. Feral Ferret, how you doing on the other side of the big pond? Glad you could make it today for some Division B Northeast action. Game 2 hype coming in from Krizo. Throwing down the Jaina and the First Blood. Love to see it. Still waiting for these 2 teams to give us the thumbs up. Ready's in chat. Probably got some members from Probius scouting this one out. Getting a few last minute notes taken ready for their finals showdown against one of these two teams next week. Gonna be a pretty good matchup there. I think Probius was the number 2 seed, if I remember. All right, looks like we've got everybody coming back from bathroom, getting some readies thrown down, getting some chromies thrown down. You know, Chromie, one of those champions that could do very well on a map like Towers of Doom. Being able to just be that nagging poke damage, delaying people on the towers. I'm sorry you're not sleeping very well. I'm sorry your insomnia is back. I was wondering where you disappeared to. I hadn't seen you in a while. I was like, oh man, I miss Farrell. I didn't realize that it was the insomnia that caused you to be able to make these games. So best of luck in getting that taken care of. Get some sleep. But I'm glad you're here tonight to get to watch some of this semifinal action between two very, very good teams coming in here. But here we are, Towers of Doom coming out. We'll see if we get the similar bans or if teams elect. You know, I would anticipate a little bit of change in ban strategy. Tyrande definitely could still be banned on a map, you know, where vision is absolutely critical, like Towers of Doom. May, again, another good one. But other champions, you know, if teams play Lost Vikings, if teams play Cho'Gall, you know, this map typically known for having a double soaker in 2 lanes and then putting everybody else in the bot lane. You know, Cho'Gall will be able to be a force to reckon with in that bot lane. But Tyrande May, again, the first to banned out here. Similar bans coming out of both teams, but the Tychus is going to be the second ban. Yellow Owls not wanting to see the Tychus. That was the first pick by the side of amateur opponents. They put a lot of emphasis on that Tychus in game number 1. And the Uther getting banned out here as well. So first ban's the same. Second ban's a little bit of a nod from what both teams were able to throw down in the first game. You know, Tychus can be very, very scary on a map, but Sylvanas was banned in game 1 and not banned in game 2. So that means Mahaya is going to pick up that Sylvanas. Going to add a lot of extra pressure in that bot lane, being able to turn off those towers. You cannot give an inch in this bot lane with a Sylvanas on the opposing team, otherwise they will punish you for it. But Malthael and Greymane, so we already see the double soaker coming out from amateur opponents. Are going to go for the Malthael, who does very well on Towers of Doom, can soak up both lanes very quickly and add a lot of team fight presence. And Greymane has a lot of anti-tank shred with that Cursed Bullet. Also going to be able to pick up camps very quickly, but Malfurion stolen away by the side of Yellow Owls here. Going to run the Druid themselves, being able to put people to sleep and set up this ETC for some very easy power slides with a lot in these team fights. And so far, no interrupts coming out for the side of amateur opponents. So ETC looking very good for a Mosh as well. We'll see how the ban strategies. I'm curious if they're going to get rid of a heavy mage like an Orphea or a Jaina here, but they're going to go for the Zul'jin instead. Don't want to see the Zul'jin. You know, looking at those mages that pair well with a potential Mosh play coming out. You know, the one thing that really stands out right now is the Li Ming. I'm curious if we're going to see the Li Ming ban. Nope, it's going to be the Deathwing again. Li Ming, notorious for being a very good interrupter for the Mosh. And also a good mage to follow up with Mosh, so this might be a steal that amateur opponents wants to take away from the side of Yellow Owls and also have the Li Ming to interrupt that Mosh play. Would be a good pickup by the side of amateur opponents there. And there it is. They get the Nubrak and Li Ming combo coming out. So Nubrak has the Cocoon, also has the Impale to knock the ETC out of his Mosh. Li Ming will probably just be put on interrupt Mosh duty. And also a nice takeaway because Li Ming fairly good into burning through that Cocoon that a Nubrak can put down. Of course, Nubrak can also put down Beetles to just make Li Ming's life hell. So it's kind of a skill thing going on there. But the Diva going to be picked up again, and it's going to be Raynor that is going to round out the composition for Yellow Owls. Raynor going to more than likely go for that Banshee. Rainer's Raider, sorry. It is a Banshee, but Banshee is typically the skill that Sylvanas is known for. So gonna go for the Rainer's Raider at 10 is what I'm anticipating here. Get that extra damage onto these targets. Also be that annoyance for Li Ming, being able to position it to interrupt a lot of what Li Ming's trying to put down. And Stukov being the final pickup here for amateur opponents. Going to be able to put a lot of silence pools around, you know, these small corridors, and also have that massive shove opportunity for the complete turnaround disengage. So they'll be able to actually run back some of what Yellow Owls did with them. If Yellow Owls get a little too zealous with some of these engages, Stukov goes with that massive shove. He's going to be able to, you know, turn these fights around. But it could also, you know, considering, it depends on how he wants to go, because with some of these fights in these close corridors and the heavy engage potential coming out of the ETC and the Malfurion Diva, may just like to go for the flailing swipes instead. But there are your team comps. Again, I really like the blow-up potential. The Greymane Li Ming is a very scary blow-up potential. So if a Nubrak gets a good knock-up in the front line, a good, solid knock-up, especially onto ETC, because ETC is not necessarily the healthiest tank. He's a very, very squishy tank. So if Greymane is paying attention to Li Ming's there, if a Nubrak gets a very good knock-up onto this ETC and fully commits to this ETC, Greymane and Li Ming have the burst to be able to put this ETC under very quickly, turning the fights quickly in their favor. And there won't be much else for them to fight with on the side of Yellow Owls, because Diva is going to be double soaking against Malthael. So I definitely like the early game, again, coming out of amateur opponents. I think they have a very good early game plan. I don't think the late game scales as heavily in favor for Yellow Owls this game as it did in the prior game. But you can never underestimate the power of a good mosh coming out of an ETC. But let's get these two teams introduced. On the blue side, we've got the Yellow Owls. We got Corsair on the ETC. We got Captain Magyar on the Diva. We got Amador on the Malfurion, Save sitting on that Rainer, and we got Mahaya on that Sylvanas. Meanwhile, on the red side, we have the amateur opponents. We got Cactus Ham on the Greymane, Ide on that Nubarak. We got Butte Holiday on the Stukov, Sonics Bro on the Li Ming, and ST Terminator on the Malthael. And looking at these two teams, we'll see what they elect to do. Looks like everybody on the side of amateur opponents is committing to the bot lane. Everybody on the side of Yellow Owls going to go over and push out this mid lane. Nubrak getting a little bit of a delay here. Seeing a lot of comments coming out about the blow-up potential on the ETC. Absolutely. Mosh might not be the best pickup due to the Li Ming being on point. True, but at the same time, if he does go Mosh, it basically forces Li Ming to never want to use her cooldown until she knows she has a reset available. So the power of the threat of a Mosh is very scary, but Stage Dive is a much safer ultimate, much more value as well. ETC does not have great pushing power, so you can't really switch the Diva and the Malthael unless he gets that extra AoE damage at 7, but he went with the block party at level 1 instead of the globe, so won't have the best sustain either. Always love looking at the talents that people decide to build up here. Both camps being picked up by each team. Jimmy going for that ace in the hole at level 1, so going to be able to put down a lot more damage if this Malfurion and ETC are able to get a lot of crowd control onto the enemy team. Like so, but we do see a potential engage forming here for the side of amateur opponents. They're actually going in heavy here. ETC taking a lot of damage. Greymane committing fully to this fight, but unfortunately does not have the rest of the jump available. These pumpkins are very far ahead for the side of amateur opponents, but unfortunately I don't think they'll be able to run in here. Sylvanas here able to shut down these minions. Diva, meanwhile, was able to continue soaking there through that entire fight, so Diva getting the experience nod in favor of Yellow Owls so far. And now, a two-man root coming there. ETC, that was a big opportunity for a power slide, but sitting a little too far back there. Nice root coming in from the Malfurion. Doesn't have the sleep, but electing to go for that increased duration on the root. Gets a lot more zoning potential out of it. But Nubrak looking for Jimmy, does not find him. And and electing to just go ahead and go back Greymane. Sitting at about half mana right now, using a lot of mana in that early fight. But Malthael gonna go ahead. Malthael does have the double soaking advantage. Will be able to get a lot of pressure put into these two lanes over a D.Va until D.Va is able to get herself up to level 10. But here we go, Malthael looking for potentially picking another fight. The Anubrak, or ETC, excuse me, is able to power slide himself. Now the Anubrak decides to go and gets the burrow onto Jimmy. Jimmy taking a lot of damage, and here comes a Greymane, able to just gobble that Jimmy up. First blood going to the werewolf. And amateur opponents, again, first ones to get first blood right around this objective. So a good timing for the amateur opponents, able to get that kill right at this objective and get themselves a 4-shot core lead. Well done. And now they're actually getting themselves a lot of pressure here in the bot lane as well. So rewarded not only with the experience, but getting the extra core shots and getting the pressure into the bot lane. So a pretty big power play, getting them pretty much right back into this game. D.Va looking like she's trying to pick these fights with the Malthael. That is the one thing that D.Va is good at, being able to punish these Malthaels in the rotation if she can catch them out. As long as she can dodge a lot of the skill shots coming out of the Malthael, she will be able to put down the damage. Jimmy putting down a world of pain onto this Li Ming. Malfurion having to just back himself well, throws down the root. And now we see camps being picked up. Greymane gonna start the solo camp again. Amateur opponents just getting a little bit of a head start on these camp pickups and have the faster camp cleared. Jimmy doesn't have the exterminator, so it takes him a second longer than what it normally would to get these camps, but pretty quick pickup by both teams there. Gonna go back to the bot lane. ETC throwing down the pings. Nubrak ready in the bush to knock him, interrupt him. Meanwhile, Malthael able to just have a good time sustaining in the top lane. Not really much happening except for the double soak game going between these two. Both teams just electing to play the gentleman's game in the bot lane. Neither team really getting much of an advantage so far in this bot lane. A little bit of tower damage in favor of amateur opponents. A little bit of tower damage for the side of Yellow Owls as well. But this objective coming online, Malthael does have the rotation advantage, getting here for the team fight. D.Va is right behind, so D.Va will be able to get in. And we're going to see the 5v5 fight over this next objective. Mana is low on the Li Ming of importance, so Li Ming going to have to be very careful with her use of skills in some of these fights. If she's not able to connect some of these skills, she's going to run out of mana. D.Va throwing down the mech early. Stuka getting a nice bionic kill switch there to get everybody healed up, but Li Ming taking a lot of damage. Huge root coming in from the Malthael, or Malfurion there, but Li Ming able to jump herself away. Nubrak trying to pick around on the ETC, but the power slide is used to get himself away. Jimmy putting down a lot of pain onto the Malthael, but that objective was finalized by the side of Yellow Owls. Do get the channel off, and that will be 4 more core shots going over in favor of Yellow Owls. And now we've got Malthael getting a little bit of a focus on him. ETC misses the power slide, but forces Malthael to dodge that skill shot going up, meaning that the rest of the team could just follow up and get that kill. So big pickup coming in for Yellow Owls here, evening out the kills at 1 apiece. And now 10s are just seconds from being online. 10s coming online for the side of Yellow Owls. We got micro missiles from the D.Va. We got the Tranquility coming out of Malfurion, going for that extra heal. It is the Mosh Pit coming out of the ETC, the Wailing Arrow coming out of the Sylvanas, and Raynor holding on, deciding if he wants to go for that siege with the Hyperion or if he elects to go with the Raynor's Raiders with the Li Ming on the other team. Does pull out the Banshee. The Raynor's Raiders are down, but a big knock-up from the Anubrak gets the root down onto the Malfurion. He needs the rest of the team to push forward, but Tranquility instantly popped and Malfurion comes out. The flailing swipes going down as well. And the Raynor is going to have to get himself back, taking a little bit of damage there, but zoning off a lot of the Li Ming. And it's just going to be that much more annoying. Jimmy actually rotating in, trying to get a pick on the Malthael. Malthael's got nowhere to go, and that will be kill secured by the side of Yellow Owls. 2 for 2 in kills now. Again, right around the time of the objective, so that's a big pickup for Yellow Owls. Saw most of the 10s coming online for the side of amateur opponents. Flailing swipes by the Stukov, Curse Bullet by the Greymane, the Cocoon. Oh, Jimmy getting caught out, getting hit in the Silence Bullet, is able to pop the Inspire, so starting to get himself away. Stukov was actually able to channel the rest of the objective off, but Li Ming getting fairly low, only at 200 health, has to be very careful gets penetrated. Sorry about that. Penetrating shot landing from Raynor there. And that will be Li-Ming going down. Greymane able to get the secure. Please, nobody clip that. Oh my god. And that will be a kill for a kill. 3 apiece going over for both teams. And Greymane able to get this channel off. So it will be 28 to 28 in kills going over to both teams. Last rites. The final ultimate picked up by the Malthael. Goodness gracious. It's one of those things where you're wanting to say one word and the other word just comes out and you sit there for a second and you go, that is not what I meant to say. Spectrum, I'm so sorry. Anyway, moving on from that, Greymane actually getting this top camp, so going to give Malthael a little extra pressure here in the top lane. Meanwhile, the side of Yellow Owl is going to put some pressure in the bot lane, and my oh my, I knew this was going to happen. I set myself up, but a Mosh going down onto the Nubrak. The damage is following up, but unfortunately not quite enough. The Nubrak does go down. Another penetrating shot coming in from the Raynor. Malthael is here for the follow-up kills. D.Va's trying to rotate herself down to get there. Last right's being popped. Not enough. It was so close, but unfortunately, Sylvanas able to get away and able to get the kill as well. And now here we are again. Amateur opponents just trying to commit too heavily for that kill. Now trying to back themselves off, but D.Va turning this around. ETC landing that power slide. Li-Ming jumping very aggressively forward. Gets 1 kill, uses it again, but Li-Ming gonna go down, and that is 4 kills for none in favor of Yellow Owls, and they get the ultimate prize on the map of Towers of Doom, the bot lane of the opposing team. This is exactly what teams want to get. Big play coming in from Yellow Owls there. Freudian cast indeed, and now we have Yellow Owls looking in a very, very good position. We'll see if the side of amateur opponents, they basically need to use Malthael to soak up while the rest of the team comes down. They've got the Nubrak with the Beetles. We'll be able to get some siege. But Greymane going instead with the Malthael. They're trying to find some kill here onto the ETC. Last rights is available in 5 more seconds. Raynor actually does fall under the siege over here. They were able to get a jump, and now the Malthael able to get a kill as well. So that's 2 kills for none for amateur opponents. So far they're able to get a lot of good plays done on both sides of the map. If Malthael can get himself away, doesn't, so they trade 2 for 1. The rest of the team gonna pick up this fort in the bot lane. But ultimately, pretty successful turnaround for the side of amateur opponents. Able to get 2 kills and also get the bottom fort returned in their favor, and now they're going to try and steal the opposing team's camp. So this could be a pretty big swing. You know, the pendulum swung one way in favor of Yellow Owls. They had a great 4-for-0 kill and got the bottom tower, but then splitting the team apart with the Anubrak and the Li-Ming available, they're able to get the kill onto Jimmy, and now able to get this bot lane starting to push in their favor. Sylvanas just getting absolutely crowd control. A beautiful route coming into Stukov, making it easy for Nubrak to land that burrow. Jimmy goes under inside the cocoon. Tranquility not popped yet, or was popped by the Malfurion, excuse me. And this siege is all but done, and that is going to be now the tower picked up. D.Va in very deep here. The burrow, the jumping by the Greymane. Can they finish it off? They do. They get the D.Va. Li-Ming trades her life for the kill. Malthael now rotating down. If they can bait this in, Malthael will be down for the return kill. Stukov trying to get the flailing swipes. In comes the Malthael. Raynor in the backline gets just absolutely turned on and shredded. Malfurion gonna fall as well, and now ETC is the last. A big bait coming in for the side of amateur opponents, and that was excellently done by the Stukov. Big play coming in from amateur opponents here, and now they're gonna get these objectives, at least 2, maybe all 3. Depends on what Malthael and Greymane can do here, but this Malthael-Greymane pairing is doing absolutely a ton of work. We got Stukov picking up the bottom. They're not even gonna defend. They're just gonna try for the triple cap here, but that's gonna be 15 shots going over to Yellow Owls onto the core. And this core is going to have 13 health remaining. Big play coming out from amateur opponents. You love to see it. After falling down that 4-for-0 kill, they didn't give up, and they found a way to turn this game around. Holy guacamole. That is some seriously good stuff coming in from the side of amateur opponents right now. At a critical time, too. Now, let's see if they could just seal this deal. They did trade the bottom fort for the triple cap. And now they need to use this top. They've been getting this top camp, putting a lot of resources into this top lane, so they need Malthael to get some big plays for them. Malthael actually rotating down. All 5 members for Yellow Owls are down here. Malthael was trying to get that push in the middle, in the top lane. I anticipate maybe he was going to get the soak, but he actually looks like he wants to fight. Instead of creating the map pressure, he looks like he's going to set up for some sort of camp and gank opportunity. Camp spawning for the side of Yellow Owls. Yellow Owls, they want to fight. Like they know they're down against it. Their only way back into this game, they've got their top lane is being heavily pressured. And now they're going to try and get this camp. The side of amateur opponents, they're not ready to give it up, but Malfurion Root's going to put any plans that amateur opponents had of an invade at bay. Let's see if we can get a big play again by amateur opponents and send us to a game number 3. Super Honey Bear, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome to the channel. Hope you enjoy a lot of NGS action, because this is the channel to get a lot of NGS action on. Got a lot of playoffs coming in. The Cocoon thrown down onto the ETC. Drainer able to get himself out. A big 3-man stun coming out, and a big mosh coming in from the ETC there. 1 falls, 2 falls. That is a huge play, able to catch the Leeming and the Stukov, so no interrupts available. My oh my, that is an absolutely devastating turn of events in favor of Yellow Owls there. Big play. That is the unfortunate part about putting ETC underneath the Cocoon. Everybody tends to push past that Cocoon, and when ETC pops out, he is ready to throw down the mosh onto the back line there, and ETC able to get a huge mosh onto the back line. You either got to get the kills quickly, or you got to just turn it and get ready for the ETC play, and ETC able to punish that Cocoon play there. Boomer 444, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome to the channel. We got a lot of playoff action coming in the next couple of weeks. But this is a big play coming in again for Yellow Owls. Pendulum swinging back over in favor of Yellow Owls. 13-12 now, and the boss pickup. And this is going to be that, like I said, it's Towers of Doom. That pendulum swings. They're going forward. It looks like the 6 cap here. They have everybody available. Everybody on amateur opponents isn't pushing this bot lane, so the 6 cap may actually get a shot off here. Hopefully it's just the 1. But this is the downside of Towers of Doom. You fall behind in the rotation game, in the late game, it is going to be no tower shots coming out. So just barely able to pick it off before that first tower is shot. And now we see some bot pressure trying to be picked up by the side of amateur opponents. Really, they've got one good team fight left that they're looking for. They're looking for their 20s, looking to get on that even talent tier. ETC went for that Bolt of the Storm, trying to teleport onto that Li Ming, find that power slide teleport mosh play onto the Li Ming. Withering Barrage picked up by the Sylvanas, execute by the Rainer. Gonna get a lot more attack speed and a lot more damage to anybody sitting below 25% or 50% health, I believe it is. Yes, 50% health. Malfurion going with the upgraded Tranquility, and we got D.Va going for the ablative armor. But here's the fight that they've committed to. Everybody on amateur opponents coming in here looking for the D.Va, does not find it. The 20s are online. Nubrak does have the rewind available. They do find the D.Va. So this is what they want. They get the kill. The towers are not online yet, so big pickup. They now have the 5v4, and they have 2 shots. So this would be, I believe, 2-4 tower shots in their favor. But more importantly, they do get a little bit of relief of the map pressure. We got Greymane picking up the bot. Li Ming is going to be on delay duty, and Nubrak going to try and find a pick there. Puts the Sylvanas under. Here comes Greymane. Here comes Malthael. Yellow Owl's got to get out. They got to run unless ETC can find the mosh. Li Ming actually does fall. So never mind. They are now on the aggressive. Li Ming was not being super careful. The last rights is going to get the kill onto Rainer. The interrupt from the Nubrak onto the ETC. Malthael is going to be able to put down a lot of damage. Greymane is very low, but if he can get to Stukov, Stukov can heal him right back up. Sylvanas sitting very low as well. These minions have to get addressed, or that's going to be 3 more core shots. Greymane is on that duty, but both towers picked up by the side of amateur opponents, and that's going to be a 9-8 game. And more importantly, they're going to be able to get this objective picked up. I'm going to go have to back and watch the VOD to see how that D.Va did not get out there, because she got back into her mech, and you'd think she'd just jetpack away, but Stukov must have landed a good silence. That's the only thing I could think of, is Stukov put his silence pull down to make sure D.Va couldn't jetpack away, and then they landed pretty good CC to get the D.Va from being able to jetpack herself away out of a sticky situation. But that pick was huge. So here we go. All things even. 12 to 14 in kills, 21 to 21. 3 more seconds on Jimmy. Hopefully he doesn't take... It looks like he's going to. He is, but nobody's there to pick it up. His team is actually there to lend aid, lend support. Malthael's got to be very careful here. ETC has the teleport available. Is he going to use it? He does. Throws it down. Gets the knockback. Does not use the Mosh because it's not available. Raiders just not quite able to finish Malthael off. Malthael's in a very, very sticky situation. But that's a big cooldown burned by the ETC. Li Ming knows the teleport is not available on the ETC. And they can play a little more aggressively around this next objective. 60-second cooldown on that teleport, so it'll have about 15 seconds, maybe a little less, when this objective comes online. So they've got about a 30-second window right now with ETC not having that teleport available, but he will have Mosh available for this next team fight. Let me get these talents out of the way, because this is going to be a very important fight for both teams. Both teams, playoffs on the line. Literally playoff lives for amateur opponents. Greymane throwing the Cursed Bullet and jumping onto the D.Va there. D.Va was very healthy. Nubrak actually diving way in deep. Doesn't have his damage to follow him up. Gets silenced. And now has to get himself to safety. Puts the D.Va under. But it just looks so chaotic right now. Raynor able to just sit back and continue to poke. And that is going to be a Nubrak the first to fall. It looks like they're trying to find the return kill onto the Malfurion. But Malthael not able to get it. And he does use the No One Can Stop Death to return and get back here. This isn't necessarily the critical defense here. It's only going to be 4 tower shots. Boss does not end. So they don't need to commit too heavy. But that was not the engage. It just looked like it was so spread out. Greymane jumping in onto the D.Va. Malthael jumping over onto the Malfurion, trying to 1v1 in each opportunity. And then Nubrak trying to split the difference and ends up suffering for it. And this is definitely not what you want. Malthael has to pop the Unstoppable here. Bosch going down by the ETC, immediately interrupted by the Stukov. They actually get the kill onto the ETC. The flailing swipes, tries to save the Malthael, doesn't get to. But a Nubrak will be back as long as Greymane can stay alive. They have delayed this with the ETC falling. They just don't have the tank, and Li Ming can continue to poke from safety. Oh, Stukov getting caught out in rotation there. Malfurion able to throw it on the root. Unfortunate pick. And this is their backs up against the wall. Playoffs on the line, and Nubrak gonna try and get here. That was a big pick for Yellow Owls there. Li Ming gonna be the next to fall, and then Nubrak gonna try and get on this point with the Greymane, looking to see what he can find to get onto the Raynor. Malfurion trying to keep him alive. The rewind ends up getting the kill, and now Greymane trying to find the Sylvanas. The pings are going down. They want the Sylvanas. They get the Sylvanas. Can they get? Malfurion is gonna go and finish off this Greymane, and Nubrak gonna do everything he can to stay on this point, looking for the Malfurion, but he does get off the point. GG's going down. And that will be game number 2 going over to Yellow Owls, and the series in favor of Yellow Owls. Man, what a back and forth game number 2 that was. Holy cow. That was absolutely insane. I must have miscalculated there. I think I was looking at the 9 instead of the 8. Because it was 9 to 8 at one point, and I think I was looking at the wrong numbers. I was like, it's only 4 shots, so they get down to 5, and Boss is only 4, but I think I was looking at the wrong numbers. It was 9 to 8, and so it was 4 shots, and then the Boss was the final 4. But still, what a game. I mean, it looked like it was just so back and forth in that second game. Both teams having their moments to close out this game, and then other teams just scrapping their way back into it. But ultimately, it was Yellow Owls coming in with a 2-0 victory here in the semifinals, setting themselves up with a date with destiny against Probius. Let me message our captain coming out of the Yellow Owls and see if we can get a potential interview set up. And we'll see what we can get, who we can get to pop in here. I got a yes please on the interview. I love it. I love it. I'm going to jump down into lobby 2. See who we have joining us. There we go. Hello?
Hello.
Hello, hello. All right, you got to tell me how you pronounce your name because I was pronouncing it 2 different ways.
It's Mahaya.
It is Mahaya. Okay. I started saying Mahaya, and then I think it's Mahaya. Mahaya would have an E in it. Mahaya. And we got we got so many people popping in and out. Got the whole team coming in here. Holy cow. All right, we got different names from who we were playing in game, so I'm going to have to know who's who.
Jodakai is Amador.
Joe to C, baby.
Joe to C.
Joe to C. Not Jodakai. So Jodakai coming in, he was, you said Amador?
Amador.
Yeah. And our last one was Captain Magyar?
Yeah, that's correct.
Magyar. Yes, I got that one right. All right, I got that one correct. All right, here we go. So I got 2 of the 3 right here. Well, congratulations. How's the team feeling?
Feels pretty good. We've been waiting for this one for a while. I know Amateur has too, so feels good to get the dub.
Always feels good to get the dub. Absolutely. I'm guessing there's a little bit of history between these 2 teams for a while here.
This season, yes, I guess.
I was going to say, I looked back, it seemed like Amateur opponents, they were the only ones that took a map away from Yellow Owls this entire season.
They were.
And it was that map.
It was that one too. I mean, they definitely played that map on another level than the game one for sure. But let's get into this. So game 1, you guys elect to go with map pick. Pick Volskaya Foundry, a map that is notorious for going into the late game. What went into the draft strategies when you saw they put that first pick priority onto the Tychus, and how you guys were going to respond to that?
I think we were ready for the Tychus. Once we banned out Sylve, that's Tychus is their next go-to. So we were ready for that. Weren't too worried about it, I guess.
So you come in from see that Tychus pick, and you like to go with the Uther, the Diva, and the Muradin. Big beefy front line into a Tychus pick. Was it more of that we want Muradin just to be there to bully Tychus away and let everybody else? I mean, obviously the strategy going in was we just want to get to late game with Zul'jin and we're gonna let Zul'jin do his thing. But how did you guys kind of play out that early and mid game to allow Zul'jin to get that kind of opportunity?
Well, it was pretty obvious they did not want Zul'jin to get his stacks early on. They didn't want to fight us anywhere early on. We kind of had to force some of the fights, I guess. I think we had the better wave clear. We were able to just rotate better and force them into those fights that we were able to take.
Yeah, it looked like, especially for a lot of that early game, they seem to have the advantage. You know, they got first blood in both games, but you guys were able to just have that one up on the structure in Volskaya. You know, always had like a support or a turret camp ahead. Right. Map pressure, you were able to get that, especially with that second protector, get lanes pushing in both top and middle. I was curious if you guys were, once you got that third protector, was the call always just we're going to set it bot, or with the top keep already sitting at about 2/3 health, was there ever a discussion about potentially taking the protector up to the top lane and creating the win condition in the top lane?
I think our first focus was just opening up the map. Once we opened up the map on that one.
I mean, with that third protector, I mean, usually, I don't know, we always go bottom for the win condition, I feel like, on that map. I mean, I did notice that, like, while we were pushing bot, that top keep, you know, it's like, you know, it's already primed a bit to be, you know, go to, but we were just pushing out the lanes and just, I mean, just throwing the damage where we could and just kind of going back and forth because Tychus melts that thing. I kind of was... I said after the game that I kind of wish I had been outside the protector just because Diva can like reduce damage like during the push, but I think it just happened to be me and Kalthus that were, you know, nearby, and we just went with it. And I don't know. Sometimes I feel like we just kind of put whoever in it. We don't really think it out all the way, but it worked out. So we just did the poke game and just kept at it on that bottom lane.
Yeah, I was gonna say the strategy. It seemed like you guys just jumped in and were like, we're gonna park it here and bot till the rest of the team comes and join us, because I think everybody was kind of just grabbing camps, getting some value on the map before it was time to eventually siege it up. But then you pushed in the bot lane, and for a second, it looked like amateur opponents found the play that they were looking for and kind of started pushing past and got that kill. And are able to bully the protector out. But then, what was the call? Like, what was the deciding factor of Yellow Owls going, you know what, let's just turn this right back around on them and mop this one up?
I think the biggest part it was me on Kale being able to turn around, and I think I got 2 picks right after that protector died. I saw an opening with Kale, and I was able to take 2 people out, and then we were able to just close it out from there.
Yeah, everybody kind of exploded. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I'm pretty sure that was when Murden was like super low on HP too. I don't know, that might have been a different fight, but like literally the toy ended up healing him alongside like Uther there for a second. It was super close, but I mean, I think we just saw the low HPs, and I mean, yeah, I think I died right away during that like flip and turn as Diva. I died. They got aggressive after killing me, but I mean, yeah, I mean, Save is our shot caller, and he just made. I'm sure he saw it. They were all low on HP. Just did we called out the flip and turn, and we flipped and turned. So
I was gonna say, yeah, I believe walking it back, Murden was like 100 health or right around that, and he got the dwarf toss away, and you guys put down the healing pack, and I think it just barely saved him for whatever next attack came in, and he survived with like 40 hit points, and then he got the burst heal from the Uther, so he was able to get that in the second win to start healing himself back up. But I mean, it was that Murden dies there, and it could have been a completely different fight. Losing all that crowd control, but able to keep the Murden alive, turn it around, turn and burn, as you guys say, and eventually get the game 1 win. So then amateur opponents come out and they pick Towers of Doom, the map that you guys say they beat you on. So what did you learn from that first matchup, and how did you adjust going into that game number 2?
Amador, you want to take this one? You haven't spoken yet.
Yeah, I was really just here for the shout outs. No, but I think the biggest transition from the first time we played him was that our draft was a little bit off. I think mainly the Lunara pick. Plus, they got in the first game we played them, we had a few big mistakes that let them snowball. But and this time we wanted to just make sure if our draft was all right. And but honestly, like they were whooping us. And then shout out to Corsair. That mosh pit kind of saved the game for us, no doubt. Like that was the play of the game right there. The bottom lane mosh.
Yeah, getting into it, I was making mention of that. Like, that was just an absolutely critical play. It looked like each team within 2 minutes of each other made absolutely game-changing critical plays. The first one coming in from them having the two like the split decision, like they were trying to get bot, but they're also trying to delay the mid tower and end up getting kills in both areas, and then ultimately getting the fort, the tower, and their bot fort as well. So like flipping the bot lane and getting towers and 2 kills. So it's like, wow, that's a huge play. And then you guys push him back, and ETC gets put under by the Nubrak cocoon. And at that point, I think it was Raynor just like, you know what, I'm saving my buddy here. Gets ETC to pop out in the back line, and ETC's like, R?
Yeah, yeah, that was huge. I ain't gonna lie, our team morale was up until that point was a little low. We were struggling to find our wits again.
Yeah. So, but I mean, eventually able to pull it back together, get it back, and then it looked like everything was going in. You guys were, triple capping all their entire, or 6 capping them essentially. I believe it was just like another second you would have gotten one shot off, but then they found a fight that just somehow worked for them. So what happened in that fight over that double objective in the bot lane where amateur opponents were suddenly able to get themselves back in the game, and then how did you guys respond to get eventually back it into your favor? It felt like the pendulum was swinging back and forth that whole game.
Go ahead,
I
Matt.
mean, yeah. You,
My bad.
I mean, I know what swung the pendulum, but I mean, that's up to you, Matt. If you want to tell me,
That's all. That's all you.
So I don't know. I feel like, I mean, for myself, yeah, I don't know. I don't really have an excuse for that. Like the shot call was to retreat, and I freaking just was like, when I'm offlaning, I get so like aggressive when I finally join up with a team, and I don't know. I just saw that tower was low, and I was like, this is our goal. We got to get this thing down. And I used my mech, and I got obliterated. I mean, I should have known from the first game that they weren't messing around with like if I start to explode my mech, they're gonna jump me, even if it's exploding. And I don't know. My team was retreating, and I was doing something dumb. That's all it comes down to. So I made a big mistake there, and I was beating myself up for the rest of the game. But I mean, we just calmed down in comms and just kept going. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was an unfortunate play to be sure, but the team able to get themselves back, get patient, get recollected, and then ultimately make the play, go for the boss. You get the four tower shots on an even footing, go for the boss play. I mean, you get the pick onto a Nubrak, which is huge, and then you go for the boss play. And Greymane finds I think it was Greymane finds the pick, and so it's a 4-on-4 situation. And then who made the call that it's like, oh my god, I found Stukov. Like I don't even know how. All of a sudden, it felt like Stukov just like magically appeared in your guys' back line. I don't know how that happened.
I don't even. There wasn't really even a call for it. I think we all just saw him and collectively, all right, well, let's dive on him. And once we got that Stukov pick, I think that's when the full, because I'm not sure we were going to commit to boss at that point, but once we got the Stukov, that's when we committed.
Okay. Yeah, because it felt like losing it was ETC that fell. Losing your ETC, it's really tough to pick up that boss without having that crowd control to like turn and
Right.
burn, which you guys were able to do so successfully. And so, but yeah, being able to find the Stukov, it was like, oh, well, there we go. That's what we needed. And then ultimately, it seemed pretty hairy for a second there, but
Yeah.
ultimately, able to seal the deal and get the 2-0. So with that, I mean, I usually open up this opportunity to say, who do you guys think was the team MVP of the series this round?
I would give it to Corsair for that Mosh game too.
Yeah,
I,
honestly, Corsair for especially, but also Save is just he's our shot caller. So I feel like without him, he's definitely like the MVP. That's just he constantly has most high like damage and everything, and he's telling us what to do. So I feel like them two for sure.
Of course, it's the two people that decide not to come in for the interview.
yeah.
But with that, I'm going to open up the floor to you guys. Any shout outs you'd like to give? This is what Jodakai came in here for. Any shout outs you'd like to give? The floor is your guys.
All right, first I gotta shout out MC Muhyun, the godfather of Yellow Owls, and of course shout out to our team. Um, Shout out to Matt, Mark, Trey, Aaron, JB, Chris, Big Fred. I hope and just everyone else who's watching. All right.
Go ahead, Captain.
I mean, shout out to Oz BTFU in the chat. Shout out to MSF Derelict in the chat. And I mean that's it for me. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet.
I'll give a big shout out to amateur opponents. It was a fun 2 games, and it was definitely a fun match with them. So shout out to them, and then shout out to you for the cast, of course.
Absolutely.
I love having these cast all the time. So and then shout out to any stacked people if you're out there. Big shout out to the stacked crew.
Alrighty. Last things last, because I forgot. I wanted to end it on this note. Showdown with Probius in the finals. Any words coming from Yellow Owls for the Probius fans sneaking around in the chat out there, or may watch this VOD later on?
Well, I think we already know 8-Bit's got a binder on us, so he'll be ready. I think we'll be ready for him too.
All right. Binder indeed. 8-Bit does his research. Thank you so much, all three of you, for coming in and giving this interview. Congratulations again on your 2-0 victory. Good luck in these Coastal Finals down the road. We're looking forward to that one for sure.
Thank you.
Appreciate it,
Appreciate
boss,
it.
man.
Absolutely. Take care, guys.
See ya.
Take care.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Mahaya, Amador, and Captain Magyar of the Yellow Owls coming in and giving us the interview on their 2-0 victory. Looking forward to that matchup between Probius and Yellow Owls. Going to come at you sometime next week. Meanwhile, looking forward, none of the casts next week have been assigned yet, due to the fact that we are still trying to figure out, finalize all the dates and everything moving forward. So I don't know exactly when my next cast is going to be, but when I do find it out, I will throw it down on my Twitch. You can check it out there. It will be cast on the NGS main channel or the NGS main 2 channel, whichever one, if there's just happens to be a doubleheader that day. Usually with playoffs, since it is a best of 5 and my voice usually gets shot after game 3, I do try and pick up a co-caster. I do not have one finalized yet. It really is going to depend on the match. I try to get somebody from the division that I cast, so we will see when we can get that moving forward, but I should have a co-caster with me as well. But for tonight, that is it for me. Thank you so much all for tuning in. Hope you had as much fun as I did tonight. Thank you all again so much for the follows, and somebody resubscribed. Did not give that mention because it didn't show up in the activity feed, but it showed up in the subscription. So thank you so much for that resubscribe. Definitely appreciate it. Have a fantastic